How to strengthen community with mobile laundry. Hi, my name is Marcin Wojciech-Żebrowski, and this is the newest episode of Urbcast, my podcast about urbanism, architecture, and many more. Welcome to the newest episode of Urbcast, and this episode is the collaboration with the UrbanFuture conference that Urbcast was a media partner of. The conference took place in Helsingborg in the beginning of June, and I was given the chance to be present at the conference and also to make some interesting conversations with several of the very inspiring people that were among the participants of the UrbanFuture conference. And today I will start with a short discussion that I have with Nicholas Marchesi, who is the co-founder at orangeskyaustralia. I need to admit that Nicholas was one of my, and not only mine, biggest discoveries during the conference, because he's doing something very unique. When you hear that Nicholas is creating and strengthening communities through laundry making, through mobile laundries, you might think, but why and how? But this is something that we will exactly discuss in our conversation. Nicholas is, together with Orange Sky, answering to one of the biggest needs of the homeless people in his country, in Australia, because 1 in every 200 Australians is facing the problem of homelessness. And one of the biggest problems of the people with the crisis of being homeless is that they don't have any possibility, any place to wash their clothes. And this is why Nicholas, together with many other people in his team, is creating the possibility for them to not only wash the clothes in their mobile laundry places, which are the vans which have the laundry machines on board. It's not only about this basic need of washing your clothes, it's also about creating a community, because during the laundry, people who are using this service for free can just create some relationships, and because of that, they can start creating a community. So this is the main scope of our discussion. I have asked Nicholas about the motivation and inspiration for creating Orange Sky, and also about the sustainability aspects and where this might lead if it comes to the future development of Orange Sky. So welcome to the newest episode with Nicholas as a part of the series together with UrbanFuture. Hi.
G'day, how you doing?
Hi, Nicholas. I'm very inspired by your work. I just happened to meet you this morning at the press conference when you've been talking about your project Orange Sky. And we can just start with saying that it is a place for people to meet. But maybe you can just develop what this idea is exactly about, because it might be a bit of a surprise for the listeners.
Yeah, so Orange Sky started in Brisbane, Australia, with this crazy idea of putting 2 washing machines and 2 dryers in the back of a van and driving around and washing and drying clothes for free. And when we started, we thought we were providing really important health hardware to communities. But now our mission at Orange Sky is to positively connect communities, because washing takes time. So while the washing's on, as an opportunity for people to sit down and talk.
Brilliant. I was really surprised when I heard your story. And just please say something more about the inspiration behind it, because it's not very often that people think, okay, what other people might have problems with? And if it comes to the washing of your clothes, it's something that people don't think much on a daily basis until they have a problem with that, right? So what was your inspiration?
Yeah, so I guess growing up in a very privileged household, didn't realize that, that thing that is important to human life, like good hygiene or human connection, is something that I had overlooked until I realized that there were people out there in my own backyard that didn't have access to that. So through speaking with people out on the streets of Australia, realizing that people didn't have a place to wash clothes and now still don't have places to connect. And a lot of people that we help may only talk to a volunteer from Orange Sky as their only piece of connection in a day. So I guess the inspiration for us started with providing the service, as in the washing, but now it's around how do we provide opportunities for people to feel safe and comfortable to connect.
Basically, if you were to say shortly about your idea, it is that you provide washing service for free for the people that need that, and you're quite mobile. You just put it on the trucks and you basically go around. Do you have any special route, any areas that you operate, or it's more organic?
Yeah, so we always operate at the same time, same place at location. So whether that be alongside a food service or a shelter or a religious organization, we rock up at mostly at the same time, same place, and always add value. But the great thing about being on four wheels is that we can constantly curate that service. So whether in the winter people congregate in other areas, our vans can go there. Whether there is an activation of people suddenly needing help, whether that be through a weather event or something like that. So yeah, we try and co-locate with other service providers, but also be a regular and reliable service.
Why do you think is so hard for people to get access to making laundry, to something that we might perceive as a very simple thing? And as I mentioned already, we don't think about it that much until we have a problem with that ourselves. And I'm just thinking, for example, on the streets of Copenhagen, you just mentioned that you're going to visit Copenhagen. I just really encourage you to look around, because you probably will find a lot of washing bars, kind of. They're the places like the public laundry, and you can just go there and wash your clothes as you can see on some like older movies. And how does that work then in Australia?
Yeah, so everyone needs washing, whether you have a roof over your head or whether you are on a massive salary or no salary. So the necessity and the need is always going to be there. The access to that is a big barrier. So whether that be location and proximity, whether it be cost, whether it be shame, there's so many different factors that come into play. But what we majorly do at Orange Sky is build our service in a van, but that's actually a very expensive way to deliver a service. So, we have services that run as a laundromat model. And I think that's the great thing is that, these laundromats that are already a functioning asset that is maybe a business for a local operator. Is there an opportunity during the downtime to make that more accessible to people who don't have access to it at the moment? And that might be through having a students' night on a Thursday because students don't like washing, or and then they can talk about, study, or whether it be on a Monday night. In Australia, women over the age of 55 are the highest rate of emerging homelessness. And, can we provide a safe space that people feel welcome to on a Monday night in a laundromat in Copenhagen for people to wash their clothes, but more importantly, maybe learn something or connect?
I like to talk about these aspects of city making and very different aspects. My podcast is not about architecture or urbanism only. It's about things like, for example, food waste in our cities, or basically a problem of access to a place where you can wash your clothes. And as you said, this is kind of a basic human need to get something fresh and also clean on yourself. But as you also mentioned before, at least it feels like the washing thing, it kind of becomes an addition to this social value for the people being able to meet at your place, and they feel safe and they kind of feel this sense of belonging. So how did you feel when you realized that you, of course, provide some service, which is extremely helpful, but that maybe this main thing is becoming something completely else and also extremely, extremely useful?
Yeah, I think it was like a learning that we didn't expect. But if I think about the simplicity of human nature, people come together and they connect forever. We haven't found anything new or innovative at Orange Sky. What we've purely done is put a priority and a focus on that and just provided a new way to do that. And, a conference like this brings people from all walks of life together to have a conversation, and, sport does that and music does that. And there's so many different things. So we've just done that through laundry, which, the majority of people put their washing on in their apartment or in their home and don't want to do it. So we just have found a different way to do that.
I would love to ask you about this aspect of sustainability. And this is the question also I asked you in the morning. So let's just have it on tape, on the record right now in the podcast. Because I was really wondering about how can you make it sustainable to have such a service? Because you use a lot of trucks and washing machines, you use a lot of water, a lot of soap. And how does it come if it comes to taking care of the planet?
Yeah, washing and drying clothes uses a lot of water and power, and there's always more we can be doing in that space. One of the things that we're looking at Orange Sky is, what does the future of washing machines and dryers look like? We've just come up with our own clothes dryer that uses 90% less electrical energy through using a fuel burner and solar power to run. And, whether that be in the future using a biofuel to generate heat or a food waste product to generate heat, but also the other sustainability factors. Orange Sky is a charity run purely by donations, and there's lots of charities in the world that need support. So, if every year we need to make millions of dollars to operate, how do we make sure that in 10 years' time there are organizations out there that will need money and Orange Sky will need money, and how do we operate in that space? So that's where we start to look at our efficiency of saying, well, washing and drying clothes in a van is much more expensive than in a household. But also, what is the cost of someone who has a poor quality of life? And these are some metrics that we can measure and some we can't. But I think the intent there is to wrap around Orange Sky's ethos of innovation. We use the idea that Orange Sky came from having an idea and doing something about it. And at the moment, we want to do something about the environmental impact we're having.
It strikes me in a positive way how you can be inspired by your own work, that you start somewhere and then you provide a service, you help people, and then there are some different aspects about how to make it even more sustainable or more efficient and also feasible. My question is also about the feasibility, because first I was wondering, of course, about how you operate it and how you fund your initiative, and you actually, I guess, answered that question already. But how is it if it comes to working with partners and also with the cities, because you operate within some frameworks, right?
Yeah, what we try and do is be as simple to interact with as possible, and that's everything from our vans automatically put detergent in, and there's a lot of automation in the asset, so a volunteer can just rock up and talk to someone. So from a design perspective, I think what we've been able to do is design our service to interact with people and cities and humans and frameworks in a really light touch way, but also acknowledge that homelessness is very polarizing, and we have a responsibility to play to interact with that there is not too much of a detrimental impact on one cohort or the other. So, we take the seriousness of how we look after our volunteers, or how do we look after a space that, if Orange Sky is making a space more vibrant, then we are hopefully adding value to the community. But also, if we are negatively impacting that, how do we make sure we're constantly changing it? So I guess we've been able to design that our vans have washing machines on board, water tanks on board, and the batteries and solar panels on board that they can operate without needing to need a permit or plug in, but also there's more we can do in that space.
Do you consider yourself a city maker and also like a placemaker? Because it sounds to me sometimes as there are some ideas that people start implementing in given space, and they are often temporary. So it might be a truck coming, or it can be some temporary architecture, and it changes the place. And I understand that this is something that you do as well as a maybe side effect of your work. So do you perceive yourself as someone who is changing and influencing the city, or you would just rather stick to just your one thing?
Yeah, I would say we build communities, and communities have different forms and factors, and we are purely a curator to that space. So I think what we are doing is providing the infrastructure for and the magnet to bring people together, but there is consistency in some of that. Usually it's with a van with washing machines and orange chairs, but there's also this beauty that comes in the human nature of, it might be a very cold day and people can empathize on that, or there might have just been a sporting team win the night before and there's excitement about that. And I think that's the great thing about our spaces that we facilitate, is that they're forever changing, and that's something that will continue to be a part of what we do.
And if it comes to the growth part, because I assume you started with one truck only, with a washing machine and just trying out the idea, but now the numbers are bigger. Can you say what the numbers are right now, and do you have any plans for even increasing the scope of your operations?
Yeah, so we're turning 8 years old this year, and we've washed and dried over 2 million kilos of free laundry.
Wow.
and now have trucks that have got showers on board and provided nearly 30,000 showers. But we've got, 36 vehicles in Australia and 4 over in New Zealand. And they're also supported by fixed assets and little mobile pods and stuff like that. I think our future at Orange Sky will always be around bringing people together with those really essential services. But if that's laundry or showers or, access to other hygiene services or nothing at all, and just coming to hang out and being a beacon for a place for someone who wants to talk to someone to do that, the future will tell that.
We are at the Urban Future Conference, so maybe on this ending note, let's talk about the future. Do you see Orange Sky being even a bigger organization that is maybe turning into something that is more like physically attached? So maybe in the future there are no more cars, but you start building facilities, or as I mentioned, that the laundry places like in Copenhagen, like laundry bars, or would you think that then you would lose kind of your soul if you lose the mobility?
Yeah, I think the mobility is important, but also, like I mentioned, it's a very expensive way to operate, and the world is changing and cities are changing. So, using assets and increasing our efficiency and our impact is something that is definitely going to need to happen in the future. Also, the future of laundry might change, and that might become quicker or, a different technology there. So definitely we're not tied to having our service linked to a vehicle. We do have bricks and mortar facilities at the moment. We also now run services that we don't own the asset. So partnering with a laundry bar, like you mentioned, and Orange Sky rocking up there, but only for a period of time and then tapping back out. So I think in the future, we will not be as asset reliant and have to worry about the washing machine. But for the next period of time, it's a big part of what we do.
Okay, then the last one. Why Orange Sky?
Yeah, so Orange Sky is a song by a singer-songwriter called Alexi Murdoch, and the song talks about everyone being under an orange sky and supporting your brothers and sisters. And Lucas and I really liked the name when we started, and we named it after that song.
Amazing and very inspiring. Thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you.